Today's video is a fun one. It's not going to end with me crying. I still can't believe I did that in the other video about finding my birth dad, but it's because it ends sad. The cool part was when I found out about dad being alive, because I thought he was dead. Um, I met him that same day, a few hours later. So if you want to see that video, I'll link that, I guess, in the description. So here's the thing about finding my mom. I saw a letter from her when I was meeting dad. He got that out. And so I got to see like where she lived at the time in Rochester, New York. That's where I was born. Um, and I got to, see her name, her first name, and her last name. Of course, it was her maiden name at the time, right? And I figured she'd probably gotten married, maybe a couple times, right? I didn't know. And so I knew, of course, that wasn't her name, and I would have to track her down. So what happened was, after I met dad, then I had to drive down to Florida. That took me a couple days, got back home, and then I started to try to research and find my mom. Now, mind you, I already was on a DNA registry thing, and nobody from that side of the family was coming up. It was like it's like a fifth cousin or fourth cousin or something would come up, and I did email them, and actually the genealogist I was working with did too, but they didn't know mom, and then the other people I think I messaged didn't get back to me or something. So, anyways, when you're fourth or fifth cousins, it's not likely they're going to know you, in most of the world, anyways. Well, this part of the world, the US. So, what happened was I got home, I started to try to find mom, because I knew her age and I knew, like her name, at least her first name, and like her nickname and her like full name. You could figure all that stuff out, right? Had nothing to go on before. So it gave me hope that I could try to track things down. Um, and oh, and dad had given me like her parents, he was pretty sure about the dad's name and stuff like that too. So, and that about her having some siblings. So I had some more info finally, right, about mom. And so I start to research it, and I found this woman in the family tree. And the problem was, when I found out more about her, was that she died at like 30 something, mid 30s. And she died from injuries from a car accident that she was in. And so it said that she had left behind, I think, three daughters, it was. And one was actually named Emily. I was like, whoa. Um, and I'd been named Erin, by the way. So that was my name by my birth mom. That was, of course, changed to Emily by my adoptive folks. So I told dad about that, my birth dad, Bobby, and I said, I don't know, she might be gone. And I just, I'm really devastated. All these years I've wanted to meet her because when you're growing up as an adopted child, you want to know. For me, I wanted to know more about my mom. And I'm not trying to be mean, but I just felt like it was quite possible that the dad had like checked out and not just gotten her pregnant and, hadn't been helpful. And that was kind of true. Like dad did try to find me a little bit after when he got his head on straight, but he kind of, you know, kind of wasn't too helpful in the beginning. And I have video of mom talking about, what happened in her life and what was going on when she gave me up for adoption and why she did it and everything. So yeah, anyways, where was I? So dad's like, nope, I don't believe it. It's so neat because I don't know how he knew, but he's like, no, I don't believe it. Keep checking, keep looking. I don't believe that that's the case. So I did. I started to look on a different part of the family tree, a different branch, if you will, and started to track down. And I looked and I looked, and finally, like 10 days after finding dad and after, I'd driven down everything. So like what, a week after I got back home in Florida, I was able to see mom's name, and I found out her married name in her mom's or my grandmother's obituary. So I was excited, right? I had something. I had some information to finally go on. And so I started to, you look for the social media, Facebook and all that good stuff. And so I was able to track her down, and there's a couple different people with her name, but I found who I thought pretty sure was her. And so I messaged her and I said, "Hi, I think we're family. I wanted to see if you're willing to talk to me and just kind of see if we are related." And so I heard nothing. So it was crickets. So then what happened was I waited like 10 or 12 days, maybe 2 weeks. I was trying to be patient. The whole time I'm thinking, oh my gosh, why is she getting back to me? So then I messaged her again and I was more specific and I said, well, to be absolutely straightforward or blunt or however I put it, I should read the message to you. But basically what I said is, to be honest with you, I believe that you are my birth mom. I gave her my birth facts and stuff, and I was like, I don't want anything from you. Life is good for me. I'm financially set, whatever. I try to word it kind of like that, like I'm stable, everything's good. I don't want anything from you, but I would just love to, get to meet you or get to talk to you or something. Because when you're growing up adopted, you want to know, like, who do you look like? And, all the stuff that most people take for granted. And I'm not saying everybody has a perfect childhood if they're not adopted. I know better. Don't worry. But I'm just saying that those are things that you guys that are not adopted take for granted. Like, whose eyes you have, or if anybody, or, hands or whatever it is. So then I heard nothing again. So finally, I'm trying to remember, it was like September, like, because I was doing this in August, by the way. So I had to wait a bit, and finally, and I even messaged her siblings on Facebook, because I could track, you can kind of track who's family and stuff. And I didn't hear anything from them. I think most of them didn't see it, they said, and then I think one did, but they're trying to wait to see what Mom wanted to do. And it turns out that when Mom got back to me, finally messaged me back, she said, "I'm sorry, I didn't see this before. We're out of the country. And so I would love to talk to you when I get back." And that's why she didn't see my message for a while. So, and she's like, "I think this is real." I think she said to her husband something about that, but she'll tell you in her part of the video about that. But I was so excited to hear from her. And the neat part was that, she said in her message, I said, "I'm not going to cry. You are my missing piece." So that was really cool. And so once I knew that was her, then, you get a little, I'm a researcher, right? So you get a little, I mean, it's not stalkerish, right? But you start to look at different socials and look for different pictures. So I was able to track down all these different things, and I could see that she was involved in a club, and I could see pictures of her and her husband, and, people I assume that were their friends and stuff. And it was just kind of neat to be able to see more pictures of her than just on the Facebook picture, just to get a better idea. And then we finally spoke, I think early September, I think it was. And it was funny because we both were nervous. I remember I was walking Flynn, and I was like trying to make sure I didn't trip and sound stupid or whatever. And then Mom, I could tell she was nervous too. She had like a quiver in her voice. She does have essential tremors, and so she does have some tremor in her voice and hands and things. But she said when she's nervous or tired, it comes out more. But I just feel so blessed to find her. Like, I can't say this enough. Like, I felt whole already, and thank God I had done so much work on myself. And after going through some really hard times in life, I did a lot of work, did a lot of healing, and I'm so glad that I'd done that work by the time I met Mom and Dad. And because there's no bitterness about being given up for adoption or whatever. I didn't care. In the sense of that, I wasn't going to hold any of that against them or whatever, that weird stuff that we can do to other people because we want to blame them for whatever. But I was just so happy to meet her and get to know her, and, just have the peace. It's like she said, it's a missing piece that, you're okay. You can go on, right? We go on in life and we do what we have to do. But if you can have that completion, it's a really neat thing. So I'm so glad I got to meet Dad, right? Even though I lost him after only knowing him 4.5 years. Never will be long enough, and I'm still mad. I can't lie. I'm a little ticked off about that. And I let Dad know now and then. And I tell God. But overall, I know I'm blessed and I'm grateful. And so I want to share with you Mom's video where I went down to visit her at her house. They had a house in Belize at the time. That's where she was when I was trying to find her. And they were down there working on things and at the house. So I got to go to Belize in 2022, March, I think it was, when I had break, and visit Mom and her husband. And so I asked her if we could do a video then and capture her part of the story. So I'm going to share that with you now.
So we were down here in Belize, and I got a message from an Emily saying that she would like to get in contact and know more about her family. She believed that there was a connection, not quite a daughter connection. And I thought, what? what's going on? So, and then she sent another message. And at first, I wasn't even looking at the messages because we were on vacation and actually we were busy, really busy. And my brother had sent me a message saying he had gotten a message from an Emily. I thought, what's going on with this Emily? Who is she? So then the second message I got said, Emily, I believe I'm your daughter, born thus and such a date. And I thought, oh my gosh, this is my daughter. And we hadn't seen each other in 50 years or over 50 years. And I was just amazed and just speechless. And I talked to my husband, Jay, and said, this is for real. Anyways, I had goosebumps and still do.
Yeah.
And so I got back to her and I said, we're in Belize. We can't really get in touch all that easily right now, but I'll be back in the States soon and we'll get in touch.
Yeah.
So, and we'll get together as soon as possible.
Yeah.
And that was in, beginning of September.
I know, right? I tried to contact you
that?
like August 10th or 18th or something, but yeah, it took a while for you to
Right,
get
exactly. It
Yeah.
took a while to get
You're
back.
right. It was a while.
And then we got together in December.
Yeah.
You flew out.
Yeah, early
For-
December.
The lighted ship parade.
Yes. Yes, that was a lot of fun.
And that was fun.
It's really-
Chilly, but that was so much fun.
It was. Yeah.
Seeing you and hugging you and having you meet our good friends. And
It's really wonderful.
it was just overwhelming.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
And we were just talking about this earlier, just how it's a miracle. It's like we're just regular people, and for us to have such an amazing story, we're just
Yes.
kind of like kind of in shock and awe still. And it's been, that was 2019, so it's been a few years.
Yes.
So it's really is a miracle. Very blessed to have that happen off the charts. And then down here in Belize now, and I'll talk to people about that too, so this is the third time seeing you in person. We're supposed to see each other, of course, last July, but that didn't work out. But I'm so glad that it's gotten a little bit better with COVID, and so that we can visit and be together too.
Yes. Yes. So I was a little young and a little foolish and ended up getting pregnant with my then boyfriend, Bob. And he was a really wonderful person, but it was not meant to be a marriage. He was in college, and so I still lived at home. My parents accepted it and said that they would help me out. And in fact, my mother offered to raise the baby, which we did not know if you were going to be a boy or a girl.
True.
Obviously. And my sister, I found out later on, my oldest sister had said she would take you.
Mm.
But it just, anyways, I said I did not want my mother raising you. It just didn't feel right. And I didn't feel like at that point in my life, I was young, I was 19.
Yeah.
I didn't feel like it was best for me to keep you and not be able to give you all I wanted for you.
Right. Right.
And Bob was not going to be there, unfortunately.
Right.
So I put you up for adoption, and hoping that I would be able to see you further down the line.
Oh, really? Okay.
Not this far down the line,
Right.
but
Wow,
back
right.
then adoptions were very sealed, and you could
Yes.
not find out much.
Right.
So Emily back then was Erin, the name I gave her.
Yeah.
And so the paperwork, as I said, was sealed.
Mm.
And a number of years later, I wrote a letter to the agency, state agency, asking, how you were doing and if I could get more information. And I said, well, what we can tell you is she's with a good family. They've adopted another little girl or another child. I don't know if they even said little girl. And they're happy. And I said, well, that's great. I said, if I could, let me give you my address. So if Erin or whoever would like to find me further down the line, she'll have this information. So please keep this. And then there was another letter written as well, and I have copies of them so that you can see them.
Oh, do you really?
Unfortunately, not with me.
Right. I
but
didn't know that.
at home.
Wow, you kept those all those years.
I kept them.
Wow.
They were in the safe.
Yeah. Wow.
And so, unfortunately, a number of years passed, and we moved. We had 2 boys in the meantime, or I had gotten married and had 2 boys.
Yeah.
So now you have more family.
Right, right,
And,
which is wonderful.
But it was wonderful to have a baby girl, and I was just so scared to not be able to do all the things I wanted to be able to do and be the kind of mom I wanted to be.
Well, you're just a baby. I mean, really, at 19,
I
I can't imagine having a child and trying to. I mean, we're babies at that point. We're still trying to figure things out.
Right.
So to try to raise a child, good Lord, no,
Yeah.
really hard. Even then, when the cost of living was supposed to be cheaper, right? It's all relative.
Right.
It's really hard, especially as a single woman back in,
So,
back in the day.
yes.
That era was very different too. The acceptance of people in
Yes.
different situations.
Oh, I know. We were a very close neighborhood. Not close as in relationship-wise, but the neighbors were close. And there was, I think, a lot of judging going on.
I'm sure. Yeah.
And some people were wonderful, and it was it was a little rough,
I
but
bet. Yeah.
it's been rough for you.
Yeah. Well, I always figured that you had to be a tough, strong woman to give up your child because, it's not easy. And to endure it, like to not have an abortion, to just be blunt, right? Like so many women, they do it because it's so hard. Like what you had to endure is so hard. And they knew that at that time. They didn't want to go through that. So, it's a miracle that you did.
Well,
Didn't want to do that. But yeah, it's a miracle, really.
that was offered as a possibility to me
Sure.
by my older brother. I could take you to Buffalo and see if we could do this. And I thought about that, and my friend Linda, my good friend, said,
Yeah.
you don't really want to do that. And anyways, too much time had passed, and I'm so thankful and grateful that I didn't do that.
Right. Yeah. As a woman, you could see the temptation because it's a very hard road to. Our society still doesn't make it easy. I feel like for women to, if they get pregnant, that just like the man doesn't have the responsibility. It's all on the woman.
Right.
So it's really tough. And then, and tell people the background of Erin Lee. Was it just a name you liked, or was it from family or any books or something?
Actually, it came about because Erin is so Irish, and we are quite Irish,
Right.
and I just, you look like an Erin, although Emily is very close,
Right.
the
True.
E,
Yeah.
so that's beautiful, and Lee, I just like that. I guess it just fit together,
Right. Right.
so
It does.
that's how that came about.
Yeah. I know going to the Pacific Northwest was the first time for me to meet you. So that was fun to see that area with you and to start making memories. I think that's the biggest thing, the memories that, that we're making are so crucial
Yes.
for both of us. And yeah, there's regret. I mean, we've talked about that too, how there's regret in the sense of not finding each other earlier, but, better late than never.
Exactly.
So I'm really grateful for that too.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I am so happy that we've had time in the Pacific Northwest and then time in Florida at your place and then at the Airbnb with Ben and Leo, Ben, your brother, and
Right.
Leo, his wife. That was fun.
Yes.
And then
Wonderful.
other family, Linda and Kristen, and
Yeah.
coming down. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it was great.
That was.
And now here.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Hit 3 different areas of the world.
Yeah. It's just been amazing.
Yeah.
So we just need to keep it going.
Right.
Keep
Absolutely.
getting together.
Yeah. And we will.
We
This
will.
summer. For sure.
Yes.
Yeah. And I don't know if you can think of anything else. I can pause it too if you want. But I mean, that's the gist of,
Yeah, that's a brief overview.
Yeah, and that's fine.
Yeah.
You don't have to feel like, like I said, it's just supposed to be whatever you're comfortable with and what you want to share. But it's nice to give people a perspective back then, because if they're younger, they're really not going to get the,
Right.
what
Right.
it was like in the 70s, early 70s, and, at
Yeah.
that time.
Well,
It's
and
a different
then
world.
I think I probably told you that Bob, your birth dad, came back to see me to see if I had any idea where you were.
Right.
And I was probably still a little bitter at that point.
Sure.
But I didn't have any idea where
Right.
you were.
Right.
And I could tell he was feeling bad.
So Mom shares a bunch, and I'm grateful for her perspective, and she's so well spoken, isn't she? She's not rambling like I do. But it was, we're talking on the phone and things, and I realized I should go out and meet her, right? Because again, life is short, and you do lose people, and there's no guarantees on when that timeline is. So I went out to meet her in December of 2019. So I met Dad July 30th, and I met Mom like December 10th or something, I want to say. So it took a little bit to meet her. But I got out there, and I stayed like 4 or 5 days, and we got to do some different fun things. And Washington is very pretty. Washington State, I should say, is very pretty in the fall. And it still was pretty good weather, not too rainy and things, still kind of, a little chilly, but not bad. And it really, we couldn't live any farther away from each other, right? From Florida to Washington State. So that was quite a, oh man, I took like 3 flights on the way back. I was exhausted. I'll never forget that, because you're so out of it when you're that tired, and all the emotions, I think, is what it was too. Same thing after meeting Dad, right? I don't think I had a headache after meeting Mom, but yeah. So I think the neatest thing was when I met her in Washington, I kept saying to myself, I'm having coffee with my birth mom. Like I'm having, I'm staying at my birth mom's house, and I'm a stranger to her, and she's a stranger to me, basically, other than being physically related. And as I got to meet family, like in March 2020, like right before everything shut down, I got to meet my aunt, her youngest sister, and my cousin and her husband, and I feel like I'm forgetting somebody, but I think that's everybody. But and then my brother, that's right, my brother came down, my mom's youngest son, so my half brother technically, but we don't call it that, and his wife. So it was just pretty neat. Sorry, my computer keeps going off, driving me nuts. But I just think, when you get to meet each other, it's just a amazing time, and to get to share and to be together. And like my aunt brought pictures, and I got to hear stories. Oh, and the other fun thing I wanted to tell you was that my cousin and my aunt both said that my mom and I, we might not look a lot alike, but our expressions, our facial expressions, are quite similar, and our sense of humor. So that's pretty cool. So that like the nature versus nurture kind of thing. Apparently some of that stuff comes down through the DNA. So who knew? But I am so grateful that I've gotten to meet Mom, get to know her. We had a bunch of time together. We got to spend, so I had my eye issue back in April, right? But before that, when Bobby was having the funeral, my dad and my sister, my birth mom, she came down to be with me in Phoenix, Arizona. So, because I was just, I was devastated. And so she came down to comfort me and keep me busy during that time, and just to have more time together. So this is 2024, by the way, last year. And then what happened after that is I had my detached retina happening, and Mom came down to take care of me and help me with that. So grateful. She stayed with me for a week, and so my eye super gross. They work on it, I feel like, so hard that it just explodes, right, from the stress that they put it through. I mean, they're saving your sight, but it's it's a heck of a process. So that, and then we got to have fun, nothing serious or sad. In the end of June, I believe it is, we went, a bunch of us in the family met for a family reunion in Folly Beach, South Carolina. So I'll include pictures from that different stuff in here. But I just, I'm really grateful. It's been over 5 years and I'm still so grateful. I just still can't believe that this happened and I got to meet Mom. I get to hug her. I get to talk to her. I get to know her. How many people does that happen to, right? That where it's not like crazy complicated or emotional. Like I said, I'm glad I did the work. Y'all need to do the work. If you need to heal, get going, because it'll be such a better thing when you meet people you're supposed to meet, whether it's loved ones, people you're physically related to, friends, whatever. It's just so much better. So please let the grace of God assist you on that. I cannot stress that enough. The healing that I've done has made all the difference, right? Because I was a hurt person after all the things that I'd gone through. I went through some really hard, relationships and all sorts of different things I've been through. Life, right? Physical things. I had a detached retina in this eye a few years ago. So all I can say is that do the work, do the healing, and then what a blessing. What a blessing to be so happy to meet my parents and my half siblings, and to move forward like that. So I wish you all just blessings and love and light. And if you have questions for me, put it down in the comments. I can answer those. But I'm ecstatic. I just still cannot believe it. And I'll get to see Mom in April. I'm going to stay up in the Washington area for like 4 months. So we'll get to have Mother's Day together, her birthday, my birthday. I could not be more excited. Cinco de Mayo, her husband's birthday. So yeah, it'll be good. Really grateful.